We are Squawking Dead, a podcast pulverizing episodes beyond the Walking Dead universe. Sometimes we give you news, sometimes we make you laugh, but most times we go deep. I'm your host, David Cameo, and I'm joined by Cosmon09, Rachel Burt, Sharon D, aka Blazy Gardner, and Bridget, ko-fi.com/punkybrewster. That's PUNKYBRUISETER. And today we're here to talk to you about The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, the third episode of its inaugural season titled Bye. Fade to black. It's over. No, the show's still going.
It's towel. Say it right there.
Towel.
It's bye.
It's tall.
Bye.
It's bye.
It's a bye. No, the people are thinking it's over.
It's literally what Michonne said as she just jumped out of the helicopter. Was bye.
Oh.
Shoto.
It's
Daito.
B-U-Y.
Bye.
It's B-U-Y. Days gone by.
Bye. B-U-Y.
Days gone by our merchandise.
Rachel's mad at me because she thought I wasn't going to bring up what the special day was. But I am.
Oh, yeah.
That's at
It's
the
your
top of the
anniversary.
show.
Your Squawk-iversary is
It's
David's
Rachel's
day.
Squawk-iversary. It's
Yeah.
5 years
Squawk-iversary.
since she joined Squawking Dead. So we're here to say happy Squawk-iversary, Rachel. You're the glue that holds the squawk together.
Happy anniversary of being on Squawking Dead and having to deal with Dave.
Is this the glue anniversary? Because like you have paper and stone and
Oh, maybe.
It's
I
the
don't know.
aluminum foil anniversary.
The aluminum foil.
Tim is
5
10.
years.
Right?
Are you
Tim is
looking it
10.
up, Bridget?
Wood. It's wood.
Wood.
It's wood. I thought that's what it was. It's
Wood.
Wood.
Give her some wood.
I'm the only guy here.
No thanks. I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm
she's
okay.
all right. She's good.
No,
She's got
I'm
enough
good.
light.
Don't need the wood.
She lives in a log cabin. It's fine.
Eric's just out there like, yeah.
Yeah, get some.
I don't know what's happening out there.
Probably for the best. He's preparing the fire right now. He's throwing a few logs in it. I have no housekeeping. I did not upload any designs in the merch store. I'm still mulling over how it wants to look. It wants to look. The creative part of my brain isn't it.
How
And
it wants to look.
doesn't know how it wants to look right now. I have an idea about flames and silhouettes or mimicking this design with the Commonwealth soldiers. You can barely make it out. But I'm still mulling it over.
I'm having a very hard time getting into this show. I know why. It's the same problem I had with Westworld Season 3 and the 100 when they got the AI city and stuff like that. Okay, I like the old-timey stuff. And I dealt with it in Westworld because it was half and half. It was half in the old-timey, it was half in the futuristic. And they balanced it out well. But when they got to Season 3, it went to all futuristic stuff. And that's the problem I'm having with the show. I preferred The Walking Dead when they were out in the wild, in the environment. Even in Alexandria, they didn't have air conditioning and tanks and helicopters and phones. So I have a hard time enjoying this because it's not what I enjoyed about earlier episodes in other shows in the universe. Because I like when they're out fighting the elements, fighting the wild, that kind of thing.
Surviving.
So when you get into the part where it's all tanks and helicopters and this big military that's over the whole country now and it's all mechanized and it's just very, very hard for me to get into it and enjoy it. I guess I like period shows more than I like technically advanced shows.
I
So-
think that's why I
She's
like
a
it.
Luddite.
Maybe.
I'm just kidding.
Or like a wish for simpler times.
And the other thing is something we touched on earlier when we were talking, and that is I do not feel any chemistry between Rick and Michonne. I'm just like, ugh, are you kidding me? This is so awful. There's just nothing there for me. They're basing this whole show on these two people that I don't feel any chemistry between whatsoever. And I know that's not a popular opinion, and I'm sorry for all the Michonne people, but that is just my feeling. There's nothing there. It's like watching two strangers make out. It's gross. One more thing I want to say about last week. Nat was awesome. He was my favorite. I was so mad.
Yeah.
I knew he was going to die.
I knew you'd like him too.
While you were talking about that, I had to look up to see when was the first time I was on Squawking Dead.
It was the same day.
No,
That'd be awesome.
it was February 14th, 2022.
Valentine's Day.
It was Valentine's Day. Is that
crazy.
cute?
Well, now I'll remember it.
I
now.
wonder when the
So-
first time I was on
Your
was.
Squawk-iversary is my mom's birthday, and today is my dad's birthday.
That's right. I was going to bring that up
Aw.
as well.
That's
sweet.
crazy.
I like it.
Yeah, so cute. I liked it. The ending had me a gasp. I wish I had my glasses on right now. I would have ripped them off.
Which I feel like, has it not felt like it's been a long time since we ended an episode sort of like that? Like that, oh, this came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I needed it. I felt like I needed it. I enjoyed it, but I'm mad at Rick. I just have a lot of feelings about this. I enjoy that the art from the cell phones was done by the little art booth. That was really endearing to me.
Can I tell you?
I did like that.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part of this episode, outside the fact that this whole episode is so uncomfortable. But then you get this, again, bright spots. Love these bright spots. And you know what? When she said Carl.
Oh, I was like,
I didn't even think about Carl. I was like, wait a minute. Is she talking about RJ? And then she said Carl. And I was like,
RJ. It has to be about Carl.
Right. But the Carl didn't even come into my head.
And even if you know, it's like she says it and you're like, yeah,
Carl.
I got really emotional. And I probably got more emotional the second time.
It hit me.
And the guy was so endearing, by the way.
He was.
Benjiro.
Great actor. I don't know who that was, but he was phenomenal.
He was in Only Murders in the Building. And he was the victim from the first season.
Okay. I haven't watched it, so I'll have to watch it.
I haven't either.
Well, it's just the thing. It's not even a spoiler.
The other really engaging point for me was, oh boy, the special effects on the walker in the subway turnstile.
The turnstile, yep.
Dude.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool.
Oh, it was so good.
We're eating well with the walker work.
I
too,
loved it.
Right?
Well,
every episode?
It's like I'm not getting quite as much zombie as I would like, but the ones I'm getting are really good.
It's quality over quantity. And the face-off ones. With the face-off, and it was a no-kill.
Yeah.
In the I want to say detritus, but it's harvest facility, right? Harvesting the bodies for fuel, whatever. But the ones that didn't quite die, and the noises. One, I don't even remember the last time I've heard it sound like that. And they're like they don't know how to even squelch or what. It's just like nasally, your worst sickness in the sinuses kind of sound. It's like they were very thoughtful. I'm sorry, I just couldn't get enough. I'm not the walker guy. I'm not the walker guy, and I liked it.
They're good walkers.
It's very thoughtful work.
Sorry, don't call them walkers. That's what I
This is
call
my
them.
word. You don't use that word. It's like he's mad at her. It's my word. You don't use it. It's mine.
You call them whalers.
I don't know.
You call them whalers like we're from Hartford or something.
I forgot what the other girl called him in this episode, but we did get another new name too.
Okay.
That's what the walker sounded like a little.
Yeah, because they don't have any, because there's like nothing
There's
there.
no
So it's just
sinus
like
cavity
guttural.
anymore.
It's just like guttural, like from the throat.
Sounds like my wife snoring.
It's like a pug. It's a pug.
Sounds like
said
me.
That's
While
what
I'm
I'm
sleeping.
I'm getting major season 7 Rick vibes. B-word Rick right now. Back when Negan was
Like a bitch?
yeah.
that what you meant?
Well,
You can say that.
you always yell at me.
Dave?
You always yell at me for swearing.
Just
so I
don't
don't know
say
what
F
ones-
and S.
Those are my favorites though.
Told you, F and S.
I can't say S, but I can say bitch. How are
Yeah.
those two are the same? I
I
feel
don't know.
Because
like.
you
He's
can
going
be
by
one.
cable.
You can also be a female dog.
Okay, well, they dropped an F-bomb in the episode, so I think it's anyway. Anyway, I
YouTube
digress.
will disagree.
Doesn't like
Okay.
it.
All right.
I didn't say
Okay,
YouTube was a rational actor. I just said, this is how they work.
Well, whatever.
It's like some
The
other
algorithm.
entities.
We need the algorithm.
We need the Fs and the S's.
He's terrified. He's scared. As much as he wants to get out, we've seen him try over and over and over again.
For years.
He feels stuck. I mean, this is almost worse than Negan, right? I mean, obviously, because this has gone on way longer than he was under Negan's thumb. They are trained. They are organized. I have no idea why he even thought for a second to bring Michonne into all of this, but I know what we're going to get into in a little while here. And it goes off of what Sharon D was saying about the chemistry on screen. And I do think that it is deliberate, because where I do think Denai and Andy have chemistry as people, I think they're both very talented actors, and I do see that they work well together. I think it's a choice that it's feeling fumbly
Out of sync.
between them. Yeah.
Mhm,
And I think that it's on purpose, because Rick is not Rick right now.
But let me also make it clear that I didn't think they had very good chemistry even in the main show. I take your point, and I think you're right, but as far as
But
I go,
you weren't a
I've
fan
never
beforehand.
thought they had any chemistry.
They're not my favorite couple on screen, but
I like them as a couple.
I'm also not a big fan of watching people making out on screen
I don't love
at
that
all.
either.
anytime there's too much kissy, I'm like, ugh, okay, we get it. What? Gross. And like the smacking noises.
And they make sure
that
to
makes me
like
gag.
pull in right on their lips and their faces mashing together. And I'm not a prude, but I don't need to see it.
In case
That's
you're
what I'm
wondering,
saying.
audio
Same.
podcast,
Yeah.
Bridget
Same.
made tonguey face noises. Faces. And
One other thing, I am super sad and scared for Thorn because I see her going down a very bad
dark path. Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's gonna be our baddie. I see that coming.
Yeah, she's gonna die.
I want to loop back around to sharing these feelings on Michonne
Yeah.
prior to the show.
Yeah.
Even I can see why one would even not be on board, only because I think the time jump hurt a little bit. Some of those things. I'm not talking about the big time jump as much, but the first one between All That War and the bridge, essentially before Rick leaves,
Mhm.
you don't really get to see them have too much of a relationship in the show. And so your buy-in on that relationship, you get to see many moments of family, and then they finally get together.
I feel like they were more friends through Carl. She and Carl were best friends. And that's how she was attached to Rick. They all stayed in the same house and blah, blah, blah. Even though 610 is the episode where they get together, and that's my favorite episode, it has nothing to do with them.
to do
I
with
could
that. Oh, we addressed that in the
totally cut that
favorite
part
moments,
off.
right? Or no, was it favorite episodes?
Yeah, it was
I
favorite
think it might have
episodes.
been episodes. Yeah. Now I get to link it. Yeah, but what I'm saying though is I'm giving you credence because sometimes the show gets busy with trying to tie in narrative elements over those more romantic elements. And so sometimes it's not easy to hit on teeing up that relationship so neatly. And so I can see a world in which some people might not have the buy-in for those two. If they had teed it up a little bit more neatly, because the common excuse, and I think it's a valid excuse when they say, I'm just not
Because we
feeling it.
rushed through their relationship. We didn't get to see
Yeah, it felt
them
forced
grow
is the
together.
quote. I'm not saying I
Yeah.
feel that way. I'm just saying that's what has been said. And then people say, oh, you're racist. And
No.
and again, I can see the point of view of someone who's saying, I'm just not buying in. And I think there's a perfectly good cinematic excuse for that.
A lot
Whether
of
it's
a lot
story
of that too
or
is
filming.
they plugged Jesse in the middle. In TV shows, generally, you know who's going to hook up right away. You can just suss it out, especially if they have chemistry. Well, they stuck Jesse in the middle of this, and I feel like if they were going to make it Rick and Michonne, which I get the comic book aspect, and then you have Pete the Porch D. Can I say that?
Yeah, I
Rick
guess
was
you could say
with
Porch
Andrea
Richard.
in the comic books.
It's Porch Richard.
Porch Richard. The patio Richard.
Patio Richard.
I feel like if they had made them a couple at the beginning of when they met,
Or had dropped breadcrumbs.
right, but it was like all of a sudden they're just boyfriend and girlfriend out of nowhere.
That's precisely what I mean. If they had dropped even the tiniest breadcrumbs, you would have had buy-in. It would have been like, oh, they're teeing it up, even if it's way down the line.
Even when Michonne found them at the house and Rick goes to the door, he says it's for you to Carl. There was nothing there, they were just friends, and all of a sudden they're in bed together.
I don't think they knew back then that Rick and Michonne would become a couple.
Right.
That's why we didn't get those breadcrumbs.
It's the exact opposite problem of the Daryl and Carol thing. Because the one line where only pervert Carol says, want to screw around, forever that's the case. With
What he says after that is even better.
might as well. We're here. Let's do it.
I'm going to screw it up. Something about going
Should say
down
that
first.
Rachel's the sword of
He said-
Caroler on the show, and she can't remember the line.
I even have like a little clip of it on my computer somewhere. I made a little video of it because it was so
Folder.
funny.
My little Carol folder.
No, Daryl said something about going down first, and she's like, "Yeah, okay."
And he says, ew, gross. I'm pretty sure.
He like rolls his eyes. Or yeah, he's like Daryl grunt.
He's like, no, I
He's a
saw
child. He's an
I saw what
undeveloped
you did to
human.
your dead husband with a pickaxe. I am not into that.
Oh, but he loved that.
But for a whole other reason. But I think what you're saying is interesting because as it pertains to the show, and something that Bridget, I feel we were thinking the same thing, and maybe even Rachel, is that they're out of sync.
Mm-hmm.
Is Rick the same man?
Mm-hmm.
Is Rick, as Thorne says, we're gone, and he's buying into that idea?
He's brainwashed 100%.
And after so many years, who do you become after so long, too?
I mean, I agree with that on some level, but I think he's still Rick because He knows that if he and Michonne leave, they will be found. Jadis knows where all of their family is.
While there is some truth to that, cool. Maybe that's why. There's a level of brainwash in it. One, when I say brainwashing, I don't mean like he's like a Stepford wife. That's not what I mean. I just
He didn't
mean
eat the rhubarb pie.
He didn't take psychedelics.
Didn't drink the Flavor Aid.
I mentioned this previously. When you're in an abusive relationship, you are gaslit essentially into thinking like, I'll never be able to get away. And that's very much what this is here. But also on top of that, because he's Rick and he's got to help everybody, he's like, okay, so if I leave now, maybe they'll find us. Maybe they won't, because maybe we'll get away and it won't be a big deal. But maybe they'll find us. But I'm in it now and I can break this and I can make it something new and different because I can be the savior of the whole world. It's a character flaw.
I don't get that impression myself. My
I'm on the
impression
fence
is
with
that
one.
he's pretty much the same
I like it.
person. I mean, Jadis could easily put on regular people clothes and show back up at Alexandria, and they would tell her, hey, oh, these people are at the Commonwealth and these people are here, because she would be Jadis. They know her.
Did they trust her
And-
before she left? I didn't think they did.
That's why she left.
Gabriel
Or
was
that
the
was
only one who
why
did.
she left, but that was like a blinder's opinion. And also after what you did to Gabe, maybe he would come back and go, my own wife or my wife to be
When she
almost
said,
took me away.
I would kill all the people that you
Gabriel.
love and a few that I like a lot, a
Right.
few that I
Yeah.
really
Right.
like. But they also mentioned the CRM trading with smaller communities,
With
which
the Junkyard gang, particularly. or
which
whatever.
I feel
Yeah.
also could bolster up the idea that they know where the Commonwealth is and they trade with the Commonwealth. And they haven't taken it out because the Commonwealth is not really a threat. They're small
Right.
potatoes.
And-
They have a
and
couple of
never will
Jeeps.
be.
Speaking of Commonwealth,
Also, it's blown up.
Couple
It's
of
blown up in
Jeeps.
like the middle.
Not yet.
Hugh Mercer
Baby
and
soon.
Hugh Mercer is
Yeah,
the guy
yeah.
they talk
And
about.
Michael
and then,
Mercer.
And then Michael
Yeah.
Mercer, yeah.
Well, so there's another thing that reinforces the brainwashing mechanism, and that's the mention of Negan throughout this episode. Rick,
You made
in
fun
his-
of me because I said people are a resource, Dave. What nugget
What does Rick say in
of
this
knowledge
episode?
was dropped from Rick's mouth this episode, Dave? People are a flippin' resource.
This bitch never forgets. I don't know what the hell. And why did I marry her?
I'm telling
your-
Evelyn.
It's your squawkiversary. And this is what I get? Already trouble in paradise. Anyway. No, he mentions, like you said, Rick says to Jadis in his true believers, his own true believer speech at the end. People are a resource, aren't they? Our fates are bound, right, Jadis? Right? And your dumb haircut, too.
That was my favorite
Wait,
line.
say it right.
Yes.
It's your
I wrote that in
haircut.
my notes in capital letters.
That was my
Haircut.
favorite line.
Just keep saying it. You know how much work you're giving me right now?
The
You
ass
said we can
haircut.
say the S word.
No, he said S and
I
F.
said
No.
F and S, no.
Oh.
F and S, no.
But they said it on the show. So we're just quoting.
I keep
just a
telling
quote.
you, YouTube doesn't care.
The algorithm doesn't like it.
Can't you just like beep?
YouTube is like
Yeah.
shingles.
He's just
It
gonna-
doesn't care.
He's just gonna beep over your entire vocal track.
Everything I say is just beep.
Beep.
Beep, 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 beep.
When they talked about giving people to the CRM, Jadis and Rick,
And she said we, not she.
could some of the people on the Commonwealth list be people that were given to the CRM? And not all of them could actually be people that were sent
Maybe.
in to get Sebastian's
Loot.
loot.
Right.
Without-
What you were
Mm.
saying.
So I was thinking that's a lot of people,
To disappear.
especially if the
Mhm.
Commonwealth wants to stay viable, they give up their A's to the CRM, and the CRM takes out the A's, and then they're not worried about the Commonwealth being a problem.
Now, I feel like we had said that when we covered that episode.
Mm.
However, we discover that I think most of the people in that house where they're trying to get the loot from were the people that were sent away. I'm not saying I know for sure. I'm just saying it just seems like there's a whole lot of dead bodies trying to get that loot. And it gets more dangerous every single time they come in. April Summers is one of the names. Remember, it's like April Summers.
She was the
was
one
on the
they
list.
found.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Well, and then she dies in that episode too. No, but I like that point. And it's they can always retcon that in too. Anything's possible. But that's not the only thing that he says is that's a lot like Negan. She says, thinking about killing me in the beginning of the episode, does it again, and he does the true believer speech of his own. He goes, I will, but not today. So-
Mhm.
And who was that? Rick, right up front during the all out war. He goes, I'm going to kill you. It's like basically to Negan. And he says it over and over again, like when he gets his confidence back. But this is supposed to narratively tell you, again, with the windmills, right, Sharon? Cycles, we're in a loop again. We're doing the same thing over and over again. Jadis is playing the Negan part. You're going to submit to my will. Just, I'll kill you, but not today. I'm going to learn my lesson from All Out War. I'm not going to kill you today with
Rita
my
brings
red
up
machete.
circles in the last episode.
Here's
too.
another one. When Thorne is aiming at Michonne in the woods, that was Shane.
Yeah.
Those were my exact words.
Yes.
Because
I want to make
it
noise.
was like, oh, is he going to forgive her? Well, why wouldn't he? His best friend did it to him.
And I mean,
Of
Rick
course.
saw it, so that's when he stepped in front. Oh, let me take care of this walker. I want to say that them pushing that thing through the woods was so stupid. This is effing ridiculous.
I loved what it did.
I was yelling at Michonne when she did it too. I'm like, girl, you need to keep a low profile right now. Cut it out.
And then Rick has to come help her. And then immediately, what do they do when they're behind a tree? Start making out?
Start making out.
Come on.
To be fair,
Yeah.
I would too.
Do you know what I yelled throughout this entire episode? It was like a couple things. One, stop making out. You're going to get caught.
Yes.
Okay. It's fine. You love each other. I get it. And I'm okay with that. I like them as a couple, but
It's stressful.
it's stressing me out. Please stop.
yeah.
Please just wait until it's safe, and it's never safe. And you're just making out behind bleachers and trees, and it's weird.
I love it. I love
There
it.
are 20 people around
It's like
you,
a danger boner.
including the woman that wants to kill you and kill your girlfriend. So
That's what
let's
makes it
go
exciting.
behind and make out behind a tree. Oh, we're so well hidden.
By the way, do you know where they are? They're in the Cascades in Washington.
Mhm.
I just wanted to be clear about
I'm
that.
like the woods.
So they're in the they're in the ultra woods right now.
Very, very, very close to Portland.
Oh,
Mm.
okay. Hold up. Let me give you some factoids. She mentions they hit 3 jump points to refuel along the way. You do the math. It's 2,500 miles. The helicopter can go 500 miles at a time. I don't know how long these trips are, but they say it's like about roughly a day and a half.
Yeah, they said it was like a day and a half, something like that.
These are all interesting facts, again, to give you a sense of geography.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now where they are, like you said, is near Portland. They're basically getting intel on the West Coast operations so we can monitor the West Coast. No, you're monitoring Portland. You're like, as soon as they make a move, because then they get set back to 0 if something happens. So
well,
whatever they have out there is tenuous.
because that's where everyone was meeting or whatever, right?
Well, the top brass and the frontliners.
Right, they're meeting all the top brass is going to meet there.
There was a threat of the walkers like coming through, so they had to get rid of
because
them
they breached the fence near the compound.
So they had to clean that up.
Like in Omaha.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
Mhm.
And Campus Colony too. That first frame near the end, you see the brick wall is broken in. We just helped it. We helped the walkers invade. And then we opened the tankers. And they're all Kermit, okay?
I was gonna say Kermit's making a lot of Kermit's making a lot of appearances
I'm Father
this
Gabriel,
episode.
so we opened the because remember they helicoptered in all those walkers and let them in, and then they just exploded did the wall so that they can all walk in. Anyway, but it's just all these breaches. It's all it takes. It's just a breach, and then endless. Anyway, are we on the same page that perhaps their whole deal is preventing Portland from becoming the threat, right? Because also in the process of taking out the only known civilizations, as soon as you start taking communities off the board, their status gets elevated. You take care of Omaha, you take care of Campus Colony. Now you've elevated Portland to like, oh, you're now the second most biggest organized civilizational element. And so now they have to monitor Portland. We have to be number one. We have to be the only light in the world.
Have we figured out how far ahead they are of the world beyond? Because Portland would know about them by now if it's well past the world beyond, because that's where Iris and Elton and
all,
whoever was going was to Portland to warn them.
I don't think so yet, if I had to take a guess. Because World Beyond, do you remember there was like the journey over a course of several months since Omaha was bombed? I think it was like 4 or 5 months, if I'm not mistaken.
3.
Okay, so that was close. But it was like a season, essentially, right? I think they're a little bit past World Beyond's series finale. But that doesn't mean that they made it to Portland yet, because that journey.
So we can say the kids are like on their way there.
Wait.
Yeah.
So you think where we are right now in Rick and Michonne, we're only 10 and a half years in?
Maybe 11, let's say.
Well, then that would be well past. They would get there in 6 months.
They're probably still on their way.
No. When I tried to point that out last time, you guys mentioned the title card says now.
Mm-hmm.
And you were like, it's further along. Because
That's now in the in Rick's context. That doesn't give us any
info
really. And what time it is. That just tells us it's now in Rick's timeline.
Michonne does, though, sort of.
Because in Michonne's episode, it said 6 years after the bridge is where Michonne's story starts. And then we know she spends a year in the mall with Nat. So now we're 7 years past the bridge. Well, I guess we don't really know how long it was from the time Michonne left to where she meets Aiden and Bailey.
The jump from the bridge to the current time in the main show was 6 to 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then also you get an extra year or so from the time we hit the Whisper War too.
We're 13 years in by now, so we're well past the time where.
Wait, what's 13 years in?
I don't know about that.
From the beginning of everything,
right?
To what?
To the now.
I don't agree that we're 13 years in. I think we might be 11 years in.
There's been a lot of argument about this online too. I just want you guys to know, like, nobody's really been able to nail this down.
I hate timelines. It's no point too.
Go back to Negan's episode. It said 12 years.
Don't use that.
Well, I mean, that's part of the timeline, though.
I just wouldn't. You have to realize that at that point, Michonne has been off the show for X amount of years. A year?
A year.
I don't know that we actually know.
It's just not a good yardstick. Because that's the one episode that screws almost everything up. Also, World Beyond itself sort of screws things up with the 2008 yearbook.
I guess my whole point is we're at least 12 years into the apocalypse.
Right.
Period.
That's what I'm saying.
It's possible that we're, 12 is a reach, but I can accept it. 13 is too much.
What yearbook in World Beyond?
The 2008 yearbook they find in the high school.
Oh, yeah.
In Wrong End of a Telescope, season 1. That screwed up our math hardcore.
Why?
The episode with the wolf.
Yeah, what we resolved to say was that the apocalypse didn't hit everywhere at the same time, maybe. It's possible that pockets...
We talked about that, but I don't think pockets were going for a year or 2 years without...
It would be 2 years.
Getting, right.
I think it would be a matter of months.
And not even months, it would be weeks, especially with the way people travel and stuff today. It would be a matter of weeks.
Again, time and references are so wonky, I am not invested in that.
That's why it's a flat
The whole point of this
day.
is the kids from the World Beyond should have been in Portland by now.
Yeah. The friends we made. The timeline is the friends we made along the way.
Possibly.
We're also assuming they made it.
No, we saw them make it in the series finale.
Okay.
It shows them standing outside of Portland looking down on it.
Okay,
but I mean, we don't know what the span
Most
of time
accidents
was.
happen within 5 miles of your home. So
we didn't see them inside Portland. So
they could have died right outside.
Also true. Yeah, the Cascadia monitoring group could have captured them right before they went to Portland.
CRM just dropped a bomb on them, dropped some chlorine gas on them.
Rick and Thorne could have rolled up and just killed all those kids.
And then season 2, you get to see that happen.
Yep.
From the wrong
Rick and
end of
Michonne fell out of the helicopter and smashed them.
Landed right on top of them.
Both green, yellow, and blue gas came out of it. So it could have been the gas from Omaha. Okay, because yellow and blue make green.
Yeah. I can't with timelines. We could spend 4 episodes on just timelines.
Such a waste of time.
I want to nail it down.
I don't think it's a waste of time because it's helping us piece together what should be happening in other parts of the universe.
That's what we can piece together, but the exact number is ugh. But going back to what was the point, do we think that this Cascadia Forward operating base, do you think that that's the monitoring station for Portland, essentially? And this is what the top brass and the frontliners are meeting up for? By the way, just to remind you about the title sequence.
I don't know.
The command is that one dot, and that's that top brass.
Yeah.
The frontliners work right underneath them. So I do think that command and that frontliners, that's what they're called, frontliners group, it's not freelancers. That is part of the echelon program. Echelon meaning upper echelons.
I was interrupted a long time ago about what I was saying that I would yell at the TV. And so I had 2 things that I was yelling at the TV. One was to stop making out. The other one was... Can everyone just talk to each other? Because if you would just tell each other things, none of this would be an issue anymore.
I am constantly saying that about every television show on TV, period.
It is constantly a problem.
As opposed to all the other shows, doesn't that illustrate the point, in a sense?
Rick, take Michonne aside and say, look, this is what's going on. This is what's happening. This is why I need you to leave. But
Jadis is here. She's threatening her home. She's threatening her kids. She's threatening her family. Or, hey, why don't you actually talk to Thorne?
Bridget doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. She doesn't matter. Bridget. That's what he says on the show.
All of it's super shady. If I were Michonne, I'd be like, this dude is messing around on me.
He must be banging that Thorn chick.
I'm glad he hasn't told Thorn the truth, though.
He finally laid with
because-
Jadis, and that's why he doesn't want to leave.
He laid with Jadis. He is the Pearl and Pearl Thorn, or he's the Thorn and Pearl Thorn.
That's their deal that we're going to find out later.
Yeah, he had a banger.
He cuts her hair. He's her barber. That's what
He learned from
that's what it
Jesse.
is.
This is how I thank you, by giving you that S haircut.
Yeah.
Essentially.
As haircut.
I was so happy when that
Oh my
line was
gosh.
said. I cannot describe how happy I was.
That was the
I
one
laughed
line
right
I
out
wish we
loud.
had an audience for to watch this show with.
The scream I scrumped.
Because that's what I would wait for. I would want to hear Bridget at the top of her voice howling her cackling howl.
I was at work, so I was in a room with a very large screen television.
Look at this fancy bitch.
Dang.
I got my computer hooked up to the TV so I could see it.
To the AV projector. in the room.
So technical.
How did he think he was going to keep it a secret with Jadis there? Now, I understand when it happened so fast. He didn't have time to think. He just did the first thing that came to mind because it was like, oh my God, like they're coming. We have to do this. But now that it's come out, also, Michonne, he told you not to act like an A, like yourself. But yes, here you are stabbing
Okay, so she's
walkers
pissed.
as fast as you can.
Mm-hmm.
You laid down a whole bunch of things. Let me address them one at a time. What's great about these episodes, some of the nuggets that they drop throughout the episodes isn't for nothing. He says in his letters to Michonne in the first episode, it's just secrets upon secrets upon secrets. And then after a while, you get used to keeping those secrets.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking about years go by. And that changes a person. That changes the way you function as a
That's what
human
I'm
being.
saying. Like it's brainwashing. It's not
Exactly.
brainwashing in the traditional sense, but there is a fundamental change
There's a culture
that's
shift
happening.
in your brain.
Conditioning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's conditioned. That's
There
the
you
better
go.
word.
Thank
Yes.
you. Conditioning.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
Rachel, credit. That's great. Rachel gets the credit. I don't think it's even unconscious that he doesn't get her involved because I think there's a part of him that doesn't want her to get accustomed to the secrets on secret, which is what he did initially. He's like, okay, here's the secrets you need to keep. Keep these secrets, keep these secrets, keep these secrets. And then he realizes, oh, okay, what we said in the episode before. We said, oops, I shouldn't have brought her here.
Whoopsie.
But
Yeah.
I don't feel like he had a choice. Whatever. I get how he feels like he didn't have a choice. Fine. Let's set that aside. There's the other thing that you mentioned.
Michonne not acting like herself and
Right.
stabbing the hell out of all the walkers as hard as she could.
So the obvious answer, obviously, is she's angry.
Mhm.
That's easy. But the not so obvious answer is what the show sometimes shows us. And that is World Beyond again. One of the biggest critiques that Rachel was the first one to have. What, they know about the outside world, but they stay behind walls and like they know about the walkers? How come they're so stupid at killing walkers? I was like, well, there's a dual problem here, right? And a benefit. So, no, but I mean, I'm giving you chum because sometimes when you're behind walls, you get to keep your humanity. I'm not even talking about humanity when it comes to Michonne or Dana.
Dana Bethune.
Bethune.
I'm talking about remembering who you are. Michonne has the luxury of remembering who she is. She's not ready to give up on Rick. When she sees the susness, she even says to Judith in her notes, I was ready to think that he was giving up on himself or he had lost himself somewhere, that he invested in this. Like you guys have said, you've dropped breadcrumbs until she went to the fair. She realized for many, many, many years, he was not struggling to remember who they were, but constantly being bombarding himself with photos of the people he misses to know why he's escaping year after year after year. For her, she figured it out. After a certain while, he gave up on himself. It's not that he gave up on them. It's the same issue in reverse. Michonne was struggling with figuring out, knowing when to go. But Rick also was trying to figure out knowing when to stop. We said this in the last episode a little bit, and this was her seeing the other side, not understanding why he's being this way. And so it's interesting to see that confluence, and it's easy to understand at that point, I need to show him that we can do anything. I can be who I am while I'm even here. I don't have to hide myself. And if I get in trouble, I'll figure it the F out.
But Rick has been there long enough to know you can't be yourself. They will kill you if they think you are a threat.
I don't disagree with you. And you know what? I got panicky when she tossed the head of that walker to save Cleo Clifton.
Mm-hmm. I was screaming at her then too. I'm like, knock it off. Stop it.
She did. She knocked it off.
Especially when there are soldiers right there who could do what you did.
Yeah. They were already moving in too. And she still continued.
And then she doubles down with the machine thingy that they pushed through the woods. She still didn't learn.
From that point on, she stopped wanting to learn. Period. He needs a reminder, and I need to be the one to do the reminding.
Yeah, I've got to get him out of here because he doesn't even know who he is anymore.
He's the one that needs saving. Yeah.
Yeah,
I got it backwards.
100%.
I get
that's
her
what's
perspective,
happening.
but she's gonna get them
right.
both
At
killed.
the same time, you need to pay attention to Rick because he knows what the F is going on here.
Yeah.
You know what?
That's a scary concept too.
I like the confluence of this actually dovetails or is a good mirror for knowing when to go.
Wasn't Michonne the one who said, if you get angry, you get stupid, and if you get stupid, you die?
You die. Yep.
Points.
Listen to yourself, Michonne.
Anger makes you stupid. Stupid gets you killed. She's not angry.
But you just said she was angry when she was
She's
stabbing
a
all the
liar.
walkers.
She was
angry.
Yeah, she's definitely. Yeah.
I think she's determined. I think she's borrowing that determination from Rick. But let's set that aside. I think there's a good mirror with what's happening here with knowing when to go and holding two simultaneous thoughts. And also what she's trying to do. She's determined to save him, but at the same time, she's doing her best to fit in or trying to get them both out alive. But it also ties together nicely with what Jada says. I'm scared of you two, because if you realize the strength that you have, you can do anything.
Oh, she is fanning the flames.
Is it Michonne a little bit brainwashed too in the idea that she has to find Rick and she has to bring him home? That's all she's been thinking about, right? She's changed a little bit too. And she doesn't realize it because the Michonne I know would have listened to what Rick had to say to her when she got there. And he's obviously panicked and is like, you have to pay attention to what I'm saying to you. This Michonne is like, no, I'm going to do whatever the heck I want to do. And you're going to listen to me and you're going to do what I say.
She spent years looking for him. And I feel like if she backs down now, to her, it would feel like all of that was for nothing. Like she can't leave without him.
I missed my kids growing up.
Yeah. To find him. Here he is, and I'm not leaving without him.
Yeah.
I think she's done the math, though. She's thinking to herself, fine, I can't leave. Just like Rick in the first episode, thinking that being on the outside is the only way out. He was convinced that maybe the only way out is through. Or I don't know, I'd get closer to getting out if I went through the system.
That's what I'm talking about, is this belief that, well, if I make the change from within, then I can get out. But, dude, it's a huge system. You and one other person are going to do that?
But wait, let me get to my point. My point is with Michonne, she's thinking, I can't get out. Then I have nothing to really lose. Either I get out with him my way, or we don't get out at all. Because that's what she says. She says at the end of the episode, Shoto.
The very last thing was like, I'm sorry.
We may not make it out alive, something like that, whatever it is.
Well, then she's a dum-dum because your children
because she's
should come
keeping
first.
Her kids safe.
No, she's not. If
she has people that take care of her.
She doesn't know what the heck is going on back in Alexandria. She's been gone.
That's true, but it's a whole lot better than the CRM trying to get at them.
Well, if she left on her own, Rick had made it so that they wouldn't be looking for her. She should have gone and gone back to her kids.
That doesn't change anything, though. This is where they are now. And so maybe the best way out is through also for her. If they burn the CRM's wheels at trying to get at them, then that keeps their children safe, essentially. And maybe that's the most important thing a parent can do for their kids.
Except now they're both MIA, which means Jadis is going to automatically think that they tried to run. And so she's going to go to Alexandria and kill their families.
That's a good point. And I wonder what's going to happen in the next episode. And of course, the next episode we hear is going to be a banger.
I feel like Michonne is like I am when I start a show and I get so far into it and I realize the show sucks. And I'm like, But
I've put so
already
much
time into it. I have to finish this show now. Maybe it'll get better. She's put so much time into this now that she just has to see it through.
You are forgetting one thing. One very important thing.
I'm sure I forgot a lot of things, but
well, no, it's easy to forget too because time jumps. We're forgetting all the years Michonne didn't go after Rick. And yes, she did not have very much to go by. And the only reason why she knows is because of her experience with Virgil after all these years. All the years she could have been spent looking for Rick. And so
but Daryl was doing that and he didn't have any luck.
All the more reason to not try too, right? Because you don't want to be that guy. I mean, it's true. You see one guy, okay, he's doing it.
Well, he's a tracker. If he can't do it,
no one can.
How could she do it?
And Michonne likes to take baths.
Well, Daryl had that one shower, that one shower that, and he was like yelling at the wind, my map.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was my towel. It doubled as a towel. TWD towel. I get it now. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever said in life. I've said dumb things.
Well,
that's a dumb thing. Oh, so let's take a break from this while we gather our thoughts. Do you want to know the etymology of the name Dana Bethune?
I do, because where did she get that name from? One.
Yeah.
From the writers, you idiot.
Why didn't she go with Aiden?
Does it have anything to do with Bethune-Cookman College?
No.
Okay.
But you know what? Hold on to that thought.
Does it have anything to do with Dana Carvey? No. Okay.
Does it have anything to do with Mary McLeod Bethune?
Possibly.
Does it have anything
More
to do
likely.
with Beth?
Yes. No, it doesn't. Maybe,
oh my
actually.
God, Beth lives. Beth lives.
I feel like Charlie Day. Anyway. It all makes sense. Anyway, Beth actually means house. Bethune means house of God. But wait till you find out what Dana means. These are all Hebrew etymologies.
There is no Dana. There is only Zul.
You just reminded me of something else, actually. So
that was amazing.
So this makes sense. Dana is also Hebrew, and it stands for arbiter, or God is my judge, not any man. So he's rogue, but okay. Crime 68.
I wondered what
mean?
that meant.
It's his
How
kill
many
count,
walkers he
baby.
killed? It's his kill count.
Only
yeah.
68? That's pretty weak.
Do you think she beat it?
I think it was in like one go.
Because we didn't see that before.
That's
in
what
the
she was
first
trying
episode,
to do, though.
when everybody was
beat
like
it.
cheering him on. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that
in
was
the background,
like
you
one
just see
sitting.
people jumping up and
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
No, that was the year he was born.
I also thought that too. But okay, so there's a mirror here. Rick is pissed. He just cut off his hand. He's this last time escaping. It was his final fight. And he's like getting it all out of his system. People cheering in the background. Same thing's happening here. She's frustrated. She's like, I don't know. This guy's, And then, by the way, you got to give credit to Michonne. As much as she scares the ever-living heck out of me because of what she's doing, because I agree with you, obviously, but I'm trying to figure out what's going on in the back of her mind. She's determined to save him. She had the comfort. She had the luxury of being behind walls so she can retain her humanity, so she can go after Rick. She's not the one that's been beaten down all these years. He has. So what I like about it is it kind of triggered me when Rick goes, "We're broken" at the end. That would have crushed me if I was Michonne.
Oh my
But I'm not
gosh.
Michonne. She pushes on. She's like, "You are lost. I get it now. I have this whole episode behind me where I almost thought it was because you were one of them until Benjiro," which that also has a meaning. Let's since we're on that topic, the etymology of Benjiro means enjoy peace.
Oh, so cute.
It's his little slice of peace.
That's so
While
cute.
all this is happening, enjoy this memory, this peace, what you're fighting for. Hold that in your mind.
That plays on the secrecy thing because he says that it took 3 years to get Rick to say the names, but Michonne says Carl immediately.
You're so open, he says. You're more open than he is. It took you 3 minutes to decide what he told me after 3 years. But
How
that
could he not draw
reinforces it.
Carl? Half of his face is a bandage.
Oh, that's not how he wants to remember him.
And I think it has something to do with time passing. And we all know without photos, as time passes, faces disappear from your memory.
Even Judith said
They start
it too.
to fall away. And they're living in a time without photography. So stuff starts to fall away, memories fall away. So I think even though he's trying to get this photo of Carl made because he wants it, he wants something to hold on to, he says, I couldn't ever quite get the face right. You're drawing him like I'm telling you, but something is missing because I just
Like the way
I can't quite
Rick's
get it right.
describing him isn't
It's just not
coming
adequate.
across.
Yeah. He's
That makes
saying all the
sense.
words and he's drawing all the faces, but they just can't match up to what it is.
Yeah.
I love that line too, before Michonne says that it's Carl, because in your head, does he know about RJ? He wouldn't know what RJ looked like. So Benjiro wouldn't be able to get that face right either.
Right.
Exactly.
You could tell him this is what the two of us look like. So he wouldn't be able to get that
Have
face
at
right.
it. Oh, that's very racist what you just did.
I'm also a little irritated that Michonne has not told Rick that he has another son.
I am not. But
Well,
it does.
like I said, only a tiny bit. I understand why, but at the same time, that would be the first thing I would blurt out of my face.
But you see, what you're saying is really interesting because she too is keeping one thing a secret because she's not sure.
I get it.
Because
I get it.
Imagine your husband starts, walkers are my word. Don't say that word.
And he's got a gun on you.
She's like, oh wait, who is this guy? Is it still him? As Nat says.
Yeah.
And by the way, speaking of Nat, because Sharon's voice was in my head, how long did Michonne spend with Nat on the road? At least a year, if not maybe more.
Oh, definitely more.
I had this thought: how long has Michonne known Rick in essence? And we go accelerated apocalypse, whatever, right? But how many? Not that many.
A couple of years at most.
A couple.
At least 3.5.
I think 2.
Well, it depends how old Judith is because she met Rick when Judith was a baby, and when
Let's
Rick
say even 3.
when Rick disappears, Judith is still 2 or 3 years old.
About 3 years old. Yeah,
she's 3 years old, right? So here's the thing: it's just interesting to see how we come across these people in our lives, like Nat. Let's say she's been with him half the time she's known Rick. Let's say half, maybe a little longer, whatever it is. It's just interesting to see. Well, she's been able to form this bond with Rick in a semi-short period of time. Their whole relationship doesn't even start until a year into them knowing each other too, by the way. So
yeah probably.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, it's just interesting.
They've been apart longer than they were ever together.
Right.
Exactly.
Mhm.
It's just good to get perspective
Mhm.
because I can see why A, Michonne would be skeptical, but then B, why Michonne would really want to fight for this thing. Because like you said, I've invested so much in us. I have kids as a result of us. We said this on something, and I have to believe. There's no other option. I have to believe. I forget what this is
I feel
from.
like that was said. Yeah.
Like
that
I can't fail. This World Beyond, I think it was. Felix, maybe?
I feel like that was, somebody definitely said something
Oh,
along those lines.
Leo
Was it
Leo Bennett. I can't fail. I forgot exactly the context, but it was like Felix and Leo, or Felix about Leo. We can't fail. Or I forget what it was. I'm sorry. But it was
Yeah.
something to that effect because there's no other
Yeah.
option. This is it. We're not going to fail. That's what she has behind her. Anyway, all of this together, all these episodes together, they do tie into one another and they do inform you on the next episode, let's say. And the whole people are a resource thing and reminding him about Negan and the futility of fighting against Negan because he didn't really win that war until all the way near the end. What does he decide to do at the end? Like Okafor, he keeps Negan alive. He gave me chance after chance after chance. He should have killed me. This is the Thorn Okafor story. Thorn makes a move on Okafor and he decides to keep her anyway and use her as a resource.
Which
There's
reminded me of the fight Rick and Okafor had too when they had their guns drawn on each other and he's like, do it, pull the trigger, and he wouldn't.
It's like Alicia and Charlie.
Who does that?
Good people? I don't know what you're fishing for.
No, that's interesting. No, Thorn says that. Pearl Thorn says that. What kind of person is that? Because Michonne has said this before she left the show. While you have breath, you have the ability to do good.
Well, I mean, the
Right,
whole thing with
Virgil?
Okafor was he didn't like what the CRM was doing. He was perfectly willing to bomb LA and Atlanta, but he was like, killing people is wrong. Well, and actually to back up something you said, he has so much invested in Rick.
Or in this idea, at least. Yeah.
Right. Well, even in Rick,
There's no-
because how many times has he put his neck on the line for Rick?
Specifically
Over the
Rick,
years.
yeah.
Which does bring us to the funeral a little bit, doesn't
Okafor was with Rick longer than Rick and Michonne were together.
That's true.
I think they had better chemistry too, like for real.
it? Even though he's like, get off of me. You're my friend. Come on, man.
It's a thin line between love and hate, my friend.
Oh, stop it. My mom always used to say that about that kid Carl I hated.
Which we brought up and was hilarious. This theme comes up over and over again. Beale says this after the funeral. Beale mentions pharmacon to both Thorn and Rick, both the poison and the cure. But what they don't mention, the Greeks introduced this term pharmacon as both the poison, cure, and the scapegoat as well. The sacrifice. We talk about sacrifice all the time. If it's not the poison and it's not the cure, it's definitely an excuse to kill more people, like Rick and Thorn. If this doesn't work out, you're the scapegoat. Oh, you're the problem. He can point a finger at you. We tried it. You're an idiot. You get to go away. But he doesn't say that, by the way. From us squawking dead to you, you should know that that's what that means too. Anyway, but it's a bigger theme too. Bonds that form through struggle. Okafor and Rick, Thorn and Okafor. There is something going on here. And Michonne and Rick. Well, what did we say in the last episode? I think it was the last episode, right? We fight with our spouses or our loved ones. and then we get through it and we're stronger for it. You get a little bit of the poison. Sometimes we yell at each other. Sometimes we say things we don't mean. And then we go back on it and then we realize, okay, I didn't really mean that. And as a result of the truth telling and all the struggle, we're stronger for it. We can move forward with a new purpose, and knowing each other a little bit better, knowing our habits and stuff like that. So I like this term of pharmacon. It's a theme that also runs throughout the show. Sacrifice, poison for the cure.
Every time you say pharmacon, I think about like a convention full of farmers. I'm like, I want a selfie with the donkey.
It's like a Facebook game.
It's a stummy stone. Pharmacon is like an evolved form of stummy stone.
Dave has sent you
And Bezoar?
an invite to
Bezoar.
Pharmacon. Dave wants
It's
you
a
to
pharmaceutical convention.
Dave wants you to harvest corn on his Pharmacorn.
It's like Farmville, but not.
Yeah, I know.
It's really boring.
I want to put some wisdom out there from Keanu Reeves. Relationships formed in stressful and extenuating circumstances rarely last. That's from Speed.
I will not.
That's the irony, isn't
I will
it?
not. I will not abide by that belief. Thank you very much.
But no, he proved himself wrong, didn't he?
Just because they made out at the end of the movie doesn't mean it lasted.
Everything is great. My bubble will not burst. Anyway.
I mean, Sandra Bullock went and married another dude and they adopted a high school football player.
Touche. Still wrong. I did struggle to look up The Martial Arts, the Book of Family Traditions by Yagyu Munenori. I would have had to read the whole thing because there's no summary out there. I don't know. It's interesting though. Why would you drop that if I didn't? Now I have screeners. I still don't have time to look up all this stuff, but I might read it on my spare time between now and us recording the next episode. So if I do think of something, I'll bring it up. But it's an awfully thick book for not a lot of writing, by the way, when I looked on the internet. It's not that much.
Hugh Mercer was born in Scotland, was a member of the Jacobite army who fought at Culloden in 1755. And if you've watched Outlander or anything, you know that Culloden,
Yeah.
Look at Bridget's
Yeah.
face.
the Culloden was a battle between the English and Scottish, where the Scottish were basically trying to replace King James Stuart back on the Scottish throne. And all of the clans got wiped out. It killed 2/3 of the clansmen in Scotland. And anybody who was left after that was an enemy and they were hunted down. If you were someone who fought at Culloden and you lived, you had to leave. In Outlander, Jamie ends up going to America after Culloden. James is Jacob in Latin, so Jacobite is the people who followed James Stewart.
Not to be confused with Jacobin, which is a whole other thing.
So he had to leave after
Now
Culloden.
you know.
He went to America, where he joined the Pennsylvania militia. He fought with the Pennsylvania militia in the French and Indian War.
He got severely injured.
Yes, he did. Then he went on and fought for the Continental Army under Washington. He fought at the Battle of Princeton, which is where he was killed. He encountered a group of British troops. His horse was shot out from under him, and he was bayoneted 7 times and left to die.
And beaten with muskets. too.
Yes.
And
The
it took
poor
him how
horse.
many days to live? It took him
7.
9.
He,
9 days, according to what I read.
he was stabbed on January 3rd and died on January 12th. So you're right, 9 days. I can't add.
Oh, okay. Phew.
There's a throwaway line in a Hamilton song that mentions him, which I did not write down, so I can't tell you what it is, but if you look it up, you can find it.
Hey, you wrote that much. I didn't get that far.
And
He killed his horse.
yes, the most
Poor
interesting
horse.
thing is his
Yeah. What?
his 5 times great grandson is General George S. Patton.
Oh,
Ooh.
wow.
Yes.
Fun fact.
He's buried in Laurel Hill Cemetery in Pennsylvania. He died
Mm.
close to that. He also fought in the New York and New Jersey campaigns during the Revolutionary War.
right in the final months.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
that was
No, he was killed in 1777, so he was killed
Summer-
early on.
Yeah, it was the 1776 is those battles. It was summer and fall. The New Jersey, New York campaign.
The Great New York Campaign is the one where Washington evacuated New York under the cover of darkness because they were trapped on the
Right.
island. The British had them. They were going to destroy the army. And overnight, they used canoes and
The Red
dugouts
Canoe.
and anything they could find to cross the river. And they ferried the entire army silently over the river overnight and escaped. The war would have been over right then. We would have been obliterated. But his other great grandson is the songwriter Johnny Mercer.
Ah, I don't know what that is. Sounds famous. No, but the Red Canoe that Michonne was
Mhm.
going to
Mhm.
hypothetically leave on. Interesting. Under the Cover of Darkness with the body dressed up. Oh, now you got it. I said it a little early. It's fine. It's fine.
See. I
I'm just kidding. But where the sword comes in is that Battle of Trenton. Interesting part of that battle is that they won that battle. However, he and his men slip behind the British forces, kick the crap out of them. A bunch of them gang up on him, stab him with bayonets, as you said, and beat him with muskets. He survives 9 days before finally succumbing to his injuries. But for that, you have Mercerville, you have the county of Mercer in New Jersey. Its county's seal until about, I think it was about 100 years ago. I think it was, they changed it finally. It was the oak tree where he was laying.
Yes, he was killed under an oak tree. Mm-hmm.
And that's where his sword comes in. It was him and his sword against bayonets and muskets. A bunch of men fighting them off.
They surrounded him and they were like, surrender. And he said, no. And he pulled his sword and they beat him to death and stabbed him to death.
His cutlass-like sword, which Beale shows in this episode, essentially, which, by the way, had been donated to the American Revolutionary Museum. 2017. They actually found the guy that bought it from an auction 100 years ago and they passed it down and finally was donated to the American Revolutionary Museum. This was within the apocalypse, 2017.
Wait,
guaranteed.
What? It was donated during 2017?
It was big news, actually,
They
too.
jacked that. They screwed it up. They screwed it all up.
Well, Beale says it fell off a truck during the bombing, basically. Somebody had it.
Right.
Yeah.
When he
That's
said they were evacuating the treasures from the, Johnny Mercer wrote, accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative.
Oh, okay.
He also
I didn't know
wrote
that
the
one.
Atchison, Topeka, and the Santa Fe. On the Atchison, Topeka, and the Santa Fe, all aboard.
I'm sensing a similar melody. Okay.
Jeepers Creepers.
That's cool.
He wrote Jeepers Creepers.
Okay, that I know.
That one I know.
Jeepers.
Okay.
It's old, right? How old is
He
it?
wrote Hooray for Hollywood. Hooray for Hollywood.
That's all you know. Hollywood. If you play it fast.
He also wrote
Try playing that 2
My
times
Dog Loves Your Dog. I don't know that song, but it sounds really good.
Aw.
My baby somethings.
My Sugar is So Refined.
Okay.
Save the Bones for Henry Jones. I've never heard of that one either.
That's interesting. Okay.
Singing in the Rain.
I'm singing in the rain.
Okay. Do it as Kermit.
I'm singing in the rain. I'm singing. I'm Father Gabriel. Right, I'm done.
Yeah.
Jensen isn't here anymore. Call me Gabriel. So wait, why we bring Hugh Mercer up is because he is being compared to Okafor. He saw the other side and he said, no. He said, I'm joining this. And he did not bomb Philadelphia. He decided to do something bigger, spare people. And he died for that cause. Beyond that, I can't really get the thread of the comparison, really. But I think
that's what I
he's
said.
trying
I
to say
didn't see any comparison to it really, other than Mercer
But
and
you know what?
The Walking Dead.
That's because we're good people. I think Beale is comparing himself to Washington in that respect, if you really think about it. And the truth be told, I don't think he's wrong in making that assumption. It's a backhanded assumption of himself. Let's get a temperature reading, because do you feel like he is pretty freaking smart?
So, having read a whole lot of stuff about Washington, he was lucky. I'm not saying he didn't do some great things and had some great strategies and was a charismatic leader who could motivate people into following him. But
with
dude made
too.
a lot of mistakes. Do you know that Washington started the French and Indian War?
I'm sorry. Are you a general? This is Washington now.
He wasn't a general then, but anyway.
Oh, okay.
He made the mistake of getting his whole entire army trapped on New York. He also got lucky that the French joined in the American cause, because otherwise we would have totally lost the war.
It's true. It's true. You know what, though? That actually makes the comparison between Washington and Beale all the better.
I wasn't disagreeing. I was saying if he's modeling himself after Washington, then he has a lot of flaws.
Accurate. Yeah. Well, either he has a lot of flaws or, like you said, and I think it's something we can all agree with. Isn't it luck? It's not smarts. It's not brawn in this universe that allows you to survive. It's luck. It's luck. Purely luck. And who's the most luckiest person ever? Major General Beale. For sure. And you know what? That's okay.
I don't know. I think it's Eugene.
But isn't that how we learn it? that's our yards. That's our touchstone, as it were. Right. And then you transplant that and put it into Beale, and it's like, yeah. But that doesn't mean that just because you're lucky that you can't do something with it. Right. And it's like Rick too. Do something with it. Like they're not gone. We're gone. So do something with it. So he is. And it's not great. But neither is what Michonne's doing. But she's doing something with it. But that remains to be seen, right? You leave off on a cliffhanger like that. I wonder what's going to happen.
Bye.
And it makes them right in a way, right?
Jumping out of helicopters in a storm over the woods, just I don't care what you're in.
Doesn't
That's
seem
not
too
a good
bright.
idea.
Also, did you have a parachute? Because I
Right.
didn't
You're
see
going to
it.
get impaled on those trees that you're falling down into.
Let me just say,
I guess we'll die together, Rick.
you know what? It's a baller move, though, for the writers to do.
Dude, I loved it. I
The
screamed.
impossible
I mean,
situation.
I'm not saying it wasn't
doesn't
cool
have to be
because
written out of that.
I was like, oh,
Excuse me.
logically,
Oh, ass.
I was like,
Oh,
oh, S.
logically, it's not really smart.
No, it's no. I always compare this to the introduction of the Borg at the end of season 3 of Star Trek: The Next Generation. I think it was. It's putting yourself in season 3, by the way, and then episode 3 of this. Sorry, geek, but you put yourself in an impossible situation. Now the fun part is writing yourself out of that and convincing the audience. Oh yeah, okay, I can. All right,
It's their own.
Kobayashi
The
Maru,
Yes. That's what I was thinking of. That's what I was
which
thinking.
is
Oh,
old is the first movie, Star Trek movie, yeah. And then they transplant that to all the other shows. It's the
What it
impossible,
is.
it's the unbeatable situation,
Yeah.
which Kirk beat because he.
Because he's
hacked the
Captain
program.
T. Kirk.
I don't believe in impossible situations.
James T. Kirk will do it all.
Including a green chick.
Yeah, you will.
I think all the men in this room will agree. It's just me. I would hit it.
You
I would hit all of
you
it.
do a green chick if given an opportunity.
Yeah. I wonder what that's like.
It's just a skin color. Are you racist?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's
God.
not easy being green.
It's not easy being Father Gabriel.
People are going to be like, what is this coverage?
And speaking of,
What?
okay, I'm going to say this in the edited version, but you radiate S knowing, is what Cleo
Oh,
says
yeah, I
to
loved
Michonne.
it. I loved
And
it.
it's true.
Mm,
she
it
can't
does.
help herself.
Mhm.
Come on.
I'm just little Dana Bethune.
In Fear,
Let me
they
do this.
they said something
Justina.
similar. 403. It was John, Luciana, Althea, and Alicia.
Morgan.
No,
Oh.
because Morgan and Nick stayed at Swati. That was the one
That's
where.
Swati. That's
Right.
the one where he knocks him over with the.
Right.
Yeah,
No,
it's
I'm
so
not
funny.
worried. So
so
they're
funny.
walking to get the big truck with the spool on it so they can use the spool to pull Swati back up the hill.
The winch, yeah.
And they say something out. Luciana says it. She's like, it's because you know your S. So I just say that.
No, your ass. I can't.
You know your poop. You know your poop.
You know your
know your ass.
spoopies.
Spoopies. Yikes.
I don't know if we've even heard this term in World Beyond, but reclamation team. I think it's a term that we've only heard
Didn't we hear it in Fear?
on Fear.
Yeah, on
Yeah.
Fear. Mhm.
As soon as I heard the word, I was like, that's from Fear.
And I think an episode I think was named after that, Reclamation.
That was
wasn't
the
it?
one with Al when she left. When they blew up the dummy soldiers with the
With the cannon.
cannonball.
You willed it into existence. I
my
know they wrote
favorite
it way
part.
beforehand. I thought that was cool because I instantly thought of you when she had said that. I'm just saying, watch those shows. Even if you didn't like them so
That's
much,
right.
you get a little.
It's what I
little
said.
nugget.
It's what I said, you idiots.
But
Go
you don't
watch
have
it.
to. You don't have to.
You do.
It's just a word.
You
I
have
had
to.
somebody
You're
on
a
TikTok
moron if you
message
don't.
me about watching the new show, and I was like, honestly, you really need to watch The World Beyond first. You'll just get so much more information. Again, it's not necessary, but it's necessary.
Right. Well, that brings us right back to the beginning of this episode when you said Luddites versus advanced stuff. I got the distinct feeling after watching all these shows, and I don't disagree with you, Sharon D. It's weird, but I disagree with you because it's weird for us as viewers watching these shows. It's weird. And Michonne thinks so too in the beginning when long hair Jadis, not S haircut Jadis.
CRM haircut.
He's got his first orientation. He's on like this furlough. He's in this square. He's looking at all this stuff. He's weirded out. We're weirded out. Jadis goes, "Can you get a napkin? I need rings of a living." she's eating the fries for 2 hot seconds. And what does she do?
Throws them away. That bothered me so much.
Didn't that bother you?
Don't you have a dog you can give them to or something?
It bothered me so much.
That's wasting
Those are potatoes.
food.
Potatoes.
That's a crime against humanity, Jadis. You're
It's
already
a crime
terrible.
against my people, the Irish.
She's
How
obviously
dare you.
not Irish.
And I thought Alexandra is probably starving about now.
Yeah.
That big period of time where they had nothing to eat. Maggie comes by and just happens to be at the wrong time because you can't feed anymore, and yet you're here. Anyway, and your wardens
Cook
too.
the kids, man. I'm telling you.
We're not going to get in trouble
That
again. Come
solves your
on.
problem.
Child bullying and then
Stop
racism
it.
for some reason.
I didn't say it this time.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, but I'm illustrating the point that we all saw it and we all went, what? Why? People are starving in China probably, or only 100 miles away, and you're throwing that out.
That was a flex for her to show Rick exactly, hey, look, check this out. We're so well off, I can throw food away and not even worry about it.
Exactly. That's for us, and that's for the show. That's to illustrate a point. It's not a thing. There's plenty more where that came from. But for us, it's weird. We notice that, and they want us to notice that. It's not a nothing thing that she threw out all the fries, but to the greater context of the episode, all this technology, the RDIM, which is, who has the ball, ma'am? That's the RDIM. Which you know what? Say what you will, if I was a female and I hear Rick Grimes talking all this military jargon, I'm like, jargon. I'm like,
Jargon. It's like a character.
I am Jargon. Futuristic robot.
Star Wars.
Anyway,
Jargon.
there's something sexy about it, is what I'm saying.
It's also supposed to show us how twisted Jadis is, because anybody who can throw French fries away has got a problem.
Who is a monster?
She is a monster.
Yeah.
Eat those cold fries. Which also, you know what else bothered me, by the way?
Doesn't she have an air fryer? They have electricity. Put them in the air fryer and heat them up.
Okay, now you're going too far.
Yeah.
Just eat them. Eat the cold pizza. But here's the thing. Another thing that was monstrous is dumping all the ketchup on the fries. You just put a little blob and dip it. Come on, be a human and dip the fries. Come on. You don't, because then you get the fry soggy with all the ketchup. It's just an observation.
I hate when ketchup is on my fries and I didn't put it on there myself.
Exactly. We
It
have
makes
two
your
reasons why
fries
she's
cold.
a monster. She's a monster. She's a monster. We've established it now. Confirmed. Monster confirmed. And she's a true believer, as she says to Rick. This is what I was afraid
Her
of, by the way.
haircut is just an expression of her deep inner personality.
She's S.
She's S.
her S haircut.
She's pew.
S tier.
Just poopy.
It's just puppy.
Why didn't she let her hair flow, though?
It did at the beginning.
At the
You
beginning.
know what weirded me out was her hair.
Maybe she's constipated. It's just a reflection of what's
Where-
inside her. She's
Where
full
did
of S.
she get that perm? Is that going on in
It's
this
a terrible
era?
wig. Let's put it that way. Oh, you know what? Okay, so what was mentioned also was that Thorne was saying there's a 500-year plan of repopulating
Yeah.
being the last
Mhm.
light.
No, that was Jadis. That was Jadis that said that.
Oh, okay. Jadis had said that, right. But I'm sure that Pearl Thorne knows about this. Right. Well, anyway, she's a 500-year plan. I thought of Laurent, okay, when he was talking about repopulating France, which was 200 years. It's like if we wanted to repopulate the Earth, it would take 200 years, give or take deaths. And then I also thought of World Beyond. Elton reading Amelia, his mother's work on extinction or whatever. She said that we will all go extinct in 15 years. This could be what Okafor was referring to when he was talking about the tipping point. Resources, trying to maintain this lifestyle. And we have to make changes in order to maintain this lifestyle. We need to introduce more A's because our military population is dying. It's interesting to see all these numbers.
Because we're
all
populating
these
our
different
military
series.
with a bunch of morons,
A bunch of B's that are
which
trying to
will
be
be
A's.
detrimental to you at some point.
And then some.
Idiocracy, anybody?
Mhm.
And you
Yeah.
need fresh perspectives, right? You need somebody who's been on the outside to understand how people work. It's not just about consignee training and then bringing in psychopaths after 6 years, because psychopaths will still be psychopaths after 6 years. Dana. Sorry, I have to say that out loud.
President
With your
Dwayne
psycho killing.
Elizondo Mountain Dew Camacho. I finally memorized it. I just
It
want
was
you guys
in
to
the
know.
first episode of Tales, which you should be watching.
But you also should have
Mhm.
watched.
It's
you
relevant to the
idiot.
series.
You
It's not
total
okay. I'm just
idiot.
pretending to be you right now. I'm not telling people. to
He's
do
an A.
this. I don't know. Is he an A?
Terry
I think-
Crews is.
I think the two together are an A.
Joe
Evie.
and
Evie.
Evie.
Yeah.
Mm.
Not Edie.
Evie.
Evie. Who said Evie?
By the way, Glenn. It's Edith. Edie. Anyway.
Those
were the days.
Okafor.
Boys were boys and men were men.
Mister, we could use a man like Herbert Hoover again.
Okay.
Didn't need no welfare state.
Welfare state.
Everybody pulled his weight. G.R. Old LaSalle
Right. Those were the days.
This is all in the Found family.
We're getting hit with copyrights.
Which goes to what Pearl says about Rick.
Cease and desist, and also
Yep.
accusations of racism.
Would it have been better if I sung it as Kermit? G.R.O.
Only if somebody does Edith's part as Miss Piggy.
Doable.
Those were the days.
I can't do it.
Hiya!
It's too high up.
Hiya!
Oh,
Kermit. Anyway, whatever. We're done. We're done with that. But I want to go back to what Rachel said about Thorne. I'm watching her. I think out of everybody that we're looking at in this episode, she's the one I'm most concerned with because she's floundering. She wants to embody what Okafor was, and yet she still can't grasp the concept. Maybe she's like Maggie on The Walking Dead. She still can't grasp the concept of why Rick spared Negan and why Okafor keeps sparing Rick and her. He sees something in them that she can't see in herself, maybe.
But
Do you
does
guys
she
think it's
really?
that?
I don't know if she's going to follow Okafor's plan. I get the
I don't
feeling
know.
that
No.
she is CRM side, and she's going to end up ratting on Rick over what he's trying to do or something like that, because I think she's been drinking the Flavor Aid.
Yeah. She even said she knows,
she got it
you know,
right.
all these things that Okafor knew. And she's like, I don't believe everything that he said now, that she has this full picture.
Yeah, she said, now I don't agree with everything
Mhm.
that he wanted, but he led
Mhm.
his team from the ground up, and I want to do the same.
So basically,
entitled,
she's going
but-
to do what he wanted to do just on the CRM side, which is not good for people who
Well-
aren't in the CRM.
And the
Yeah.
only thing we know for sure is that she's struggling. She wants to keep her promise to who she refers to as Rick, as family. Friendship is too soft. But on the other hand, Okafor knew what she didn't, and yet he still behaved in that manner. Like Beale said at the funeral, he fought on different sides at different wars. This is Okafor, even now, even at that time before he passed, or went splat. Found on the right side against the British, and he died in that fight. Comparing Okafor's sacrifice to Mercer's, because the bombing of Marines comparing to the British, but he still saw his enemy as the means to his own salvation. And Thorne doesn't get it. How do you know what I know and yet still think that's the way forward? And she's about to shoot Michonne, something that would hurt her family.
I don't think
That's
she feels
compelling.
that way.
She doesn't-
She thinks that
Yeah.
killing Michonne's going to save her family because it'll make Rick
Yeah.
stop wanting to get away or do such stupid things. Because even Jada said, Rick, what the F are you doing? Right?
And we all agree, by the way.
And Jadis knows way
Mhm.
more than Thorne does. So you have to imagine Thorne is super confused.
Maybe she doesn't even see the big picture of what she's learned too.
I think she has, but she just thinks that, like I said, she's drinking the Kool-Aid. She's believing what the CRM is laying out, especially now that she knows whatever the echelon thing is. I hope it's more exciting than what A's and B's were, because I was like, really?
I'm okay
That's
with that. Alphas
that's
and
what
betas
A's and B's are? Okay.
and deltas.
I thought it was going to be something a lot more. What are the gammas? We've already had a gamma.
Oh. We also had an alpha and beta, but it's a
Yeah.
different story. Yeah.
But we never connected that these were A's and alpha and B's, A's and never mind.
They might do the same thing that they always do and never explain it, which is I'm fine with,
Okay,
because some
Lost.
things in this world I should be nebulous. But that's not even what I care about. I care about the struggle. We form bonds in struggle, sure, but watching her suffer in this choice, in what she feels like she has to do, is so compelling.
Mhm.
It hurts Rachel because Mazikeen.
I like Thorne a lot. To me, she's probably the most interesting character on the show.
And she's a new character whom we can.
She and Jadis, because I really like
Glom
Jadis
onto.
too. I like Jadis. I like her
She's an old
slimy.
character.
Like I said during World Beyond, I like Jadis much more in this iteration
On this
than I
show,
did on
yeah.
the main show.
Yeah. So much more interesting because she can be her true self, let's say. And I did think of that when we first saw her on screen in the last episode. I never mentioned it, but this is what it looks like for the Walking Dead universe. Allows you to be the person you were meant to be, sort of thing for Jadis. Because I don't think she was when she was Jadis, actually, when she was in the junkyard. She was pretending for hardcore for the very long time. And maybe we thought that she was pretending even World Beyond. But I'm listening to this episode and she's like, you know what? I think I found where I'm supposed to be. And I think I am a true believer. I think some of us had said that she was pretending because she was trying to embody the true believer, like be a psychopath, pretend so you can fit in. And maybe that's worth asking, actually. Do you think that that's still what she's doing? Or is she, as she says to Rick, I'm a true believer. I'm going to go after your family. I'm going to kill everybody you love if you try to leave. And so what do you think that is?
I think she is 100% in the CRM, all in 100%.
Which I think is an opinion you've changed now.
And
right?
I also love that she mentioned words. I've told you a lot of words, Rick. Or something,
yes,
something
yes.
like yes.
It's like, which is a good Letterkenny
Was the yes, was that in reference to all the times that she said, yes, I'll be on your side, and then she double crossed him? Because wasn't that like 3 times on the main show when she was like, yeah, I'll be on your side, and then turned on him?
And it's mutual too. But he never gave up on her, even though she gave up. And that's an interesting mirror to Okafor as well. He never gave up on her. Did want to kill her after a while because of the times she left. However, he still spared her enough also to keep her in Bridge Colony too, after that tiny time jump before he left the show. And so you bring up a very interesting point about why does Rick really not thank her for saving him? I know why, because he can't leave to go back to his wife, but still he's alive for the possibility.
You saved me to be a prisoner.
But this was initially too, right out the gate.
I think Rick sees a little bit of what I do. I think Jadis has her own set of plans. I think she has something going on in her head that we're not even aware of yet. Rick and Michonne.
And Rick can smell it out, sniff it out.
Yeah. He might not know what it is, but at the end, I think Jadis is in it for Jadis. And I do think she's planning on climbing this ladder or whatever, trying to get as high as she can. I don't know what her ultimate plan is, but I think now that she sees Rick and Michonne together, I mean, she's flat out says, together you guys can do anything. I think she is fanning those flames.
Oh.
I think she wants them to cause havoc. I think she wants.
So much like my idiotic idea about Okafor.
Well, kind of like what I said.
Wanting Michonne to come in. That's Jadis, really.
Maybe, but I think
don't escape.
Kind of
Rick.
what I said.
We said this
what I said last
weekend,
time,
or last week,
right? What I said last time. I think Jadis wants Rick and Michonne to cause havoc. I think she wants them to do something terrible so that she can swoop in and put it out.
Chaos
she can
is a ladder.
Be the savior. She can solve this
kind of
problem
what I was gonna say,
that
but you said it better.
that is them.
Chaos is her ladder to rise in her true believer ranks.
And just giving Rick all of this fuel together, you guys can do anything. And then Rick's like, yeah, we can. Maybe she doesn't want to kill everybody that he loves, but she would if it meant she can rise higher in the ranks.
Because she's a true believer. It doesn't mean that she stops being her, is what you're saying.
No.
She may be a true believer, but this is still her nature. I think that is who
she is. Yeah.
Right. She's a true believer, and it's kind of like the knowing when to go thing.
And it's going to play out in her favor.
So you can be two things at once.
Here's something interesting.
I can dig it.
Jadis derives from an old French term meaning long ago or of old.
Jadis?
Old French version breaks down into ja, signifying already, a, meaning has, and the plural form of d translating to day. It means already has a day in the past. What's her last name now? Jadis?
Stokes.
She
was going by Stokes.
That's right, Stokes. Feel means handsome.
Yes, it does.
Terry O'Quinn, yeah.
More like Terry O'Stud.
At least he didn't have the orange peel in his mouth. That's all I'm saying.
I love it. I would have loved him even more, but it doesn't suit his character. Imagine if he's on the bench with Rick. He goes, Rick, I'm just going to stand here. He's going to look. He looks aside. He's going to stand here and watch the sights for a while. Then he turns around and goes with the orange peel in his mouth.
Do you want to play backgammon, Rick?
You play the light side or the dark side, Rick? Grimes.
That was like a decent impression, actually.
Stokes means to feed and stir up.
Yeah, to stoke a fire.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Jadis Stokes. She's going to mix some S up.
Ah,
Gabriel stoked her, all right.
It also means to poke or thrust, so.
Which is what. All right, now we got to talk about this. We're going to go around the room because I did ask this jokingly in the last episode or the one before. No, it was the last episode.
I wasn't here for the last episode.
Rick and Jadis and or Thorne. You know what I'm saying? Either of them.
F, marry, kill.
No, just saying. Has he had?
Did he?
I did have relations with those women.
You're not
Or
doing
I
it right.
didn't.
It's like this, Dave.
Had relations with that. Anyway, Bridget, what do you think? Just shoot from the hip.
No, neither.
Okay, Rach.
No.
Charity.
No, Rick's been flogging the baloney.
With one hand. Listen.
It only takes one hand, right?
I think
They
maybe
could have like cut a hole in the middle of that fist form.
you know, actually that's not a bad idea.
Saying.
A little lubrication. Yeah, it could work. But I think maybe there is something with Thorne. Maybe like a one-nighter thing.
No,
maybe
I think,
maybe a couple
no.
nighter.
No.
I don't think so.
After 6 years.
No, I don't
6
think
years,
so.
Grimes.
I don't think Thorne.
It was him and Beale.
I don't think
Sorry.
Thorne has any interest in sex. She's all about the. What would the CRM version of Benjamin's be?
She said there was somebody out there that she loved. Did she?
Oh, her family. Yeah, her. I would say husband. But
She didn't specify
she
who
didn't
it
really
was.
specify.
I mean, it's possible she's gay, or
That's kind of the
she's
vibe I was getting
asexual.
from her.
like Daryl.
Let's hook her up with Daryl.
Oh gosh. I might just be getting that vibe from her because of her character from Lucifer. Maze was gay. So I picture her with a female companion.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So I
Plot twist: she's
yeah.
into Michonne.
Ooh. Yeah. Also, I don't really know how I feel yet about Thorne. I just love seeing her on screen because I love Leslie Ann Brandt so much.
I like her character.
But Thorne as a character,
she's interesting to me.
yes, I will say she is interesting, but I don't know what direction.
Yeah, you
she's
don't know if she's
going.
going to be the bad guy you want to
yeah.
defeat, right?
Mhm.
That's the thing.
Right. I want to see her more on screen.
But you know what? You know what it is, though. It's the Walking Dead
You know what it is.
formula. It's like you don't really know
You know
who's a
what
bad
it
guy. Every
is.
bad guy is sort of a good guy. Every good guy can be sort of bad. And so with her, she.
You know how I feel
it's
about
just-
my bad guys.
I know that's why I'm saying this to you because, and to anybody in the audience who I think we all, to a degree, feel the same way. We want to root for the good guy and cheer for the bad guy's defeat.
Yes.
But with Thorne, I see her struggling to be on the right side, to be on that side that is good, to take the life that she's been given and further this cause.
But
this,
that depends on
what to her is a good cause.
your perspective of good is. So is her perspective of good
Always.
saving people in our day-to-day life, or is her perspective of good saving the world in the future? So she can
Yeah.
think she's being good and doing good by being part of the CRM wholeheartedly. That's her perspective. One man's trash is another man's treasure.
Negan also thought he was doing good.
Right. I like when characters are great, and sometimes I like the bad guy because they're more fun.
Well, and it's really recognizing the humanness in that effort, in that attempt to grasp that perspective that we all are looking for, like a meaning and purpose. Like, oh, we will all want to tilt towards the good, even though we know we're going to slide into whatever selfish, idiotic thing that we're going to do next. Even though we do our best. We try. Maybe we don't even do our best.
Just like Rick thought he was doing good when he went and wiped out the satellite station, and look what that did. That had
Exactly.
consequences he didn't intend. He thought he was doing the right thing, but he
and
wasn't.
that's why I like enjoying Thorne, is just seeing that humanness, that real struggle to find out what that is. Because she thinks she knows what it is. She's been told.
What it
And
is.
yet you could see it in her face as she lifts up the rifle and looks at the scope and sees Dana in it. She's not excited about the prospect, but she's like, I got to do this, right? I got to do this. This has to be done. She's not following orders. You know, I'll just tell my brother Rick, I'll tell my family Rick to take care of this problem. Let's not get my hands dirty. But I like that struggle. I like that. It's painful to watch. And this is why I say, even the last episode, is they're not comfortable. It's not easy to see the other side of what that means, that good purpose and future it is for the CRM on the other side of it with all the gas, the chlorine gas and all that stuff. And it's not easy to watch the humans suffer in the meantime. So again, bright spots. What is the bright spot of this episode? The Carl thing, I think.
No, I think it was the
Carl
S
thing.
haircut.
And
The
the S haircut was a good one
haircut.
A
too.
hero with a poopy
The
haircut.
poopy haircut.
The Great Walker in the turnstile.
Yeah.
In the harvest facility, the faceless ones.
Yeah.
I like that Rick had a beeper from when Thorne was calling him.
With all of their technology, why don't they just reboot the cell phone system?
Well, beepers, it uses a radio signal of some kind, but through the telephone.
Well,
It must
cell
have, like-
phones use like satellite or beepers on a different.
I think you call a
Levels.
center.
Oh.
It must be the working GPS unit that they found somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, those GPS units that those people told us about.
Okay.
Well, Strand obviously had one when he found Madison in the middle of the woods.
And Dana received one from Thorne. It's not a beeper, but it does the same thing. She presses a button. It's a homing beacon that will bring in a helicopter for 300
I
miles.
thought that was pretty cool.
Again,
That was
Kafka's gun. That's
And
going
we
to come
saw
into
Rick-
play.
It is going to come
And we
into
saw
play.
Rick use his
Like a homing pigeon from Daryl.
in the first episode when the helicopter went down. He
Hit the button
He
and-
hit
yeah.
the thing.
Oh, the PRB.
That's
Yeah.
how they knew to come.
PRB. And I think Jadis did too when she picked up Rick. I'm kidding. I don't know. Maybe.
When she picked up Rick
She had
or
a
when
walk-
she
well, she
picked
had a
up
walkie.
Rick? Yes.
Which she does do that thing. You want to see my apartment? I live here now.
She
Would you
is
like?
so
you want to
gross,
come up
man.
and see my
She's-
etchings?
She's like
You
hit
wanna
on
pork
him
a little?
so many times. This is so gross.
Hey, want to
It's
Netflix
great.
and chill?
What's
After
a
all these years,
Netflix?
she's just still trying it. I think it's because she just knows it irks him. I don't even think she wants it. I think it's
Makes
just
him
like it makes you
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable, and this is funny to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Like what I do to you guys often, I think.
Fair.
It's like I thought she was going to turn it around, but turns
Nope.
out I'm the scapegoat. Anyway.
I hope that by the end of the series, we see instead of Grimes 68 up on the wall, we see Bethune 69.
69.
I was gonna-
69.
And then Jadis shoots a look at Rick. You and me? 69? Which I'd watch.
That's why Rick only
Ugh,
gets
I
68.
would not watch
I don't even
it.
like watching them kiss.
I don't wanna watch it.
I don't want any of that.
There are showers.
I would like to go
See?
now.
The awkward.
I
Feel
do
the
make you. I am the
awkward.
Jadis of
Feel
this
the-
I
group.
want to go
The
now.
awkwardness. Yep.
Okay.
Dave's
If
like,
you like
yes,
what you
yes,
Yes.
10 more
If
things.
you like what you
Hold
heard.
on.
One more thing. No, it's always one more thing, but it turns into 10 more things.
Here's why you're wrong.
Actually, if you like what you heard, head over to ratethispodcast.com/squawking dead. Actually, 5 stars in an eggplant is all we need to know that you love us. But tell us what you liked. Tell us what you didn't like. But remember to tell us after every episode. And if you really like what we're doing, do yourself a favor and follow us for free on either Ko-fi or Patreon. It's the only place where we post our recording schedules so that you can attend our recording sessions for free.
Well, not these though.
Because these are screener sessions. So I just
see these
lied
on
to you.
time.
I'm like the CRM. I probably lie to you a lot. But hypothetically speaking,
You're like the CRM, secrets upon secrets upon secrets.
secrets upon secrets. There are other benefits to following us, like eventually, possibly, maybe tipping us and joining our Discord forever. Or for as little as $1 a month, less than the cost of a tip, you can join a membership tier and enjoy other benefits like getting the unedited episode recordings, the pre-squawk insights, and a whole host of other perks, especially in the Ko-fi shop, like ringtones and wallpapers and bears. Oh my. We appreciate your
I don't see
support.
any bears.
And again, those links are ko-fi.com/squawkingdead and patreon.com/squawkingdead. I've been your host, David Cameo, and I was joined by Cosmo Mom 09, Rachel Burt, Sharon D, aka Blazy Gardner, and Bridget. ko-fi.com/Punky Brewster. That's PUNKYBRUISETER. We're going to go now.
Bye.
Bye.
There is no Dana. There is only Zool.
There is no Dana. There is only pie. Goodbye.
It was good.
Kermit.